Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Do you know what would happen if I suddenly decided to stop going into work? A business big enough that it could be listed on the NASDAQ goes belly up. Disappears. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot. You think that of me? No, I am the one who knocks. Goddamn right.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Terry, with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast Friday edition. Tonight, man, I am in the great state of Indiana. Bobby Knight himself, one of my favorite college basketball Hall of Famers, man, that's no longer here with us. But you know what? The reason why I went to Indiana, man, to talk with a team named Access to Paranormal. My man David is here with us to tell us a little bit about the team and about what's going on up there in Indiana besides the snow. But but a quick shout out, all you guys that are on, man, my social medias tonight, all you guys that are watching the show, all you guys on Kick, Rumble, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, my Facebook paranormal page, and my podcast page. Guys, welcome to the show, man. Hey, don't forget, hit that like, share, subscribe button, no matter what platform you guys are watching me on. And make sure you guys support Access to Paranormal from Indiana. But with enough said, Mr. David, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Well, great, man. Great. Great. I appreciate it, man. What's the weather look like up there? 32, 29, 18, 2?
It's pretty cold. It's pretty miserable.
Oh, man.
It was just 70 2 days ago, so not ready for the cold yet.
But you know what? It's here, and I love the change of the weather. I love the fall. The leaves falling off the trees, man, not riding with your air conditioning on, saving gas and all that stuff. But with enough said, man, tell the world a little bit about Access to Paranormal. What are you guys about up there in Indiana?
Well, we've been around for 45 years. We're
Wow.
a really old paranormal team. It was originally called Southern Indiana Paranormal Society, but in '95 I changed it to Access to Paranormal because we'd already investigated so much. We knew so much was real and everything, and now we want to share this with other people. So we want to bring other people, give them access to what we've seen and access to what we do, and to go with on paranormal investigations with us. So we named it Access to Paranormal.
Okay, so, cool, man.
We do private investigations for people that are having trouble in their houses. We're exorcist investigators for the Catholic Church. We We do public investigations where we go to some of the more haunted places here in Indiana. We take people with us on public investigations, and we do all phases of the paranormal, into UFO, cryptic creatures, just your regular ghost hauntings.
It seems like you guys are into a lot. How do you have so much time to do all this?
We're struggling. I have 10 people in my group,
Okay.
and we're stretched pretty thin. I'm retired now. I just retired this year, so that's helped a lot. But we're on the doing TikTok and YouTube and Facebook, and we're trying to do a lot of lives and trying to edit video and doing investigations all at the same time. It's pretty tough.
I bet, man. A lot of people don't have that much time as you do. You're retired, man. What did you do for a living?
I was a firefighter EMT for 26 years.
Wow, wow. Thank you for your service, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Hey, you ever pulled up in your fire truck and do an investigation?
No, no, I did try that one.
I wonder. Hey, I was just wondering, man. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be kind of sweet, right?
That would be kind of cool. All right, man. David, NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast is not the typical podcast that you guys have been on. I'm not going to ask you, this, that, some of the simple things. Man, this podcast is about you and you only, your team, the city that you live in, the state that you live in. I'm going to ask you questions that's going to make you think. I'm going to ask you questions that's going to make you say, hmm. And I'm going to ask you questions. And I'm going to ask you questions that damn right make you want to laugh, but let's come on, have a good time, and let's enjoy the moment. You know what I'm saying? So, with the first question is, man, with you being a paranormal investigator for 40 plus years, did your first initial investigation start at your location when you was a child in your house?
No, no.
Oh, wow, wow. Hey, wow, okay. Well, tell me how it all started for you, brother.
Well, my first paranormal experience I ever had was when I was a child. I was about, I think I was 7 years old, walking home from school.
Hmm.
We just lived, just 2 or 3 blocks from the school, and I was walking home, and I saw some kind of creature walking through a parking lot towards me, and I ran home and looked out the window, didn't see it anymore. But from then on, it always felt like something was watching me from inside my house, and that kind of intrigued me some. But there was also a story because I lived in Bullitt County, Kentucky, and there was a story of a man that used to. I guess him and his wife were buried in 2 separate cemeteries, and during
Mm.
the every 10th annual anniversary, that you would see him every night walk from like a lantern would pop up, and he'd be carrying the lantern and walk from his grave all the way to his wife's grave and then disappear. And a lot of paranormal people were out there. A lot of people just trying to see it. When I was probably about 12 years old, and that kind of got me intrigued a little more, and just slowly from then. But when I was in high school, I I was on the fire department, and we had an ambulance service, and we took the last patient out of Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Louisville, Kentucky, and
Hmm.
we took that person to another nursing home. It was a nursing home at the end. We took the patients out of the nursing home when they closed it, and when I saw that building, I was like locked in on it. And every Friday and Saturday night for probably 2 years, me and my friends used to go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then we'd leave there and go straight to Waverly Hills and sneak in the building and ghost hunt.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so we weren't supposed to be there, but we went in there every weekend. So it was a blast. We used to sit in the dark, and there was patients' charts still there. We'd sit and read the charts, and uh, get stuff going pretty good there. We'd see shadow figures a lot and stuff, and that was really when it got really locked in for me, where I started focusing on the paranormal.
Interesting. Okay. Now you say you was a firefighter, right? EMT.
Yes, sir.
Man, many years you've done that. Have you ever experienced anything paranormal while you were doing your job?
Not really. Nothing paranormal while we were doing the job. I mean, we heard stories, people with near death experiences, and we had some more stuff that like psych patients that would tell me about the devil coming to their house and bothering them or something, and they would tell me that uh, like one lady, we were taking her to the hospital, and I was asking her all these questions about this demonic or entity or this uh, she called the devil, asking her about it. Finally, she said, "If you ask me one more question," he said he's going to wreck the ambulance and kill all of us.
Oh, damn.
But a lot of them always describe the same entity. Like probably dozens of people explained the same thing to me when they had the same kind of experience, and that was pretty intriguing. So
Now, do you think it was by coincidence that most people tell you the same thing, or do you think it's something more?
I think it's real. I mean, maybe at that point I started to slowly think it was because there was so much going on. But now that I've been doing the paranormal for so long and been involved in a lot of, uh, I, I don't know, I don't want to say a lot, but we've probably had 15 or 20 legitimate demonic cases that we've worked. And I honestly believe now that was probably true, that they were explaining just what they saw, and it really was some kind of uh, evil entity of some kind. I don't want to say it was the devil, but it could have been some kind of demonic or something. So
Okay. Now, with your being one of man, I can't say because I don't know a lot of people who have ever dealt with something demonic. If you had a number from 1 to 10, David, how from 10 to be the most extreme, 1 to being the less extreme, where would you put paranormal investigators on that level as one of the most dangerous professions that's on the face of this earth?
I would say if a true paranormal investigator that is really out here doing work with just basic investigations, I guess, but I'd say maybe a 7 or an 8 because
Oh, that's pretty high.
I believe they can influence your life. They can cause depression. They can oppress you really bad, and honestly, I'm starting to think they can also cause illnesses and stuff in people because I have lost 3 people of my group to illnesses over the last 10 years. It's been catastrophic.
Mm. So,
So
with that, with you saying an 8, why do you think more people are wanting to do what we do? Why do you think there are more paranormal teams stepping up to the plate now than there's ever been?
uh, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of them are more hobbyists. They're more hobbyists. They're like groups of friends that want to go out and check out some haunted place or something. And so I hate to say they're not true paranormal investigators because they are, but
Hmm.
they're most of them are more novices and they're more, like I said, a group of friends just wanting to go out. And they'll go to like one of the haunted locations, then go to a different haunted location, investigate. So, uh, and I think there's a lot now that have gotten on social media that are just out there trying to make a little money, and they're not really real serious about the paranormal itself.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, what's up, Chris Stantz? How you doing, man? From Paranormal Investigators calls the End of Days Paranormal Team. Hey, First time on the show, man. I really appreciate you coming on, checking me out. I really should pray. Hey, make sure you go hit that subscribe, man. Make sure you hit those buttons, man. And if you can, and if you're really interested on talking about paranormal, you want to get your team on the show, hey, contact me after the show, man. But really, I really appreciate you coming on and spreading the love. Really appreciate it. You know, David, the one thing that I do know is there, like you say, there are more teams that, like I was saying, there are more teams popping up. The question that I have for you is when I see one thing that intrigued me about your name is access to paranormal. It's not just what you said earlier about uh, and people just doing it just to be fun, and you doing it because you want people to have 24/7 access to what you do. You want to be able to teach, you want to be able to educate, you want to be, and all that good stuff. The reason why I like that name is people can't put you guys in a corner. The reason why I say that is because it can be easily says access the paranormal investigators, or it can easily say access to paranormal ghost hunters. Now, would you believe there's a difference between the two, or do you think they correlate as one?
Which thing? Ghost hunters and paranormal
Nope.
investigators?
Right.
Well, I think it's basically the same thing, but uh, I don't know. Like I said, the reason why we want access is just because I want everybody to experience this. I want them to know that it's true. I want them to get out here and go to some of these places and experience it. On a not just on a regular level, but on a more also on a religious level, because
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand that. You know, I wouldn't even go in some of these places if I didn't believe wholeheartedly in Jesus Christ and that He was there to protect me. Because the stuff I've seen and stuff I've experienced, it's I want to share that, not you know, like I said, on a spiritual level as well as just a regular level.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks, man, for sharing that with us. Uh, but you know what? People sometimes get discouraged with ghost hunters because, you know, when you mention the word ghost hunters, David, that's what they do.
Right.
Some of them don't even take time to do their research. Some of them just go out and find a building uh, and just go and just ghost hunt.
Yep.
Investigators take their time to do what's done right. And I'm not saying that all ghost hunters are like like what we're talking about, but clearly there's a difference between the two. That's just my personal opinion. Uh,
Right.
you know,
Being,
some
being a paranormal investigator is brutal. I mean, just the hours of work to evidence and all the stuff you collect, it just takes hours and hours to go through that stuff. It's not like, we go out and have a good time, go investigate someplace. And, because we did it just having fun, sometimes we don't get back to that evidence, even though some of it's really good. But,
hmm
you know, it's a grind, to be honest.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hey, you definitely gonna put in your 40-hour work week on that. You know what I'm saying? So if you put in 40-hour work at the Jizzle, you definitely gonna put in 40 hours plus. Looking at what you need to look at to get your evidence out. No matter what it is, it could be a fly on the
Right.
wall, but it's still evidence. But with that said, let's talk about the city and the state you live in. I don't know much about Indiana. Maybe you can fill us in a little bit about the state, the city you're from, a little bit of the history, and so on and so on.
Well, I don't. I'm really not from Indiana, so I can give you a lot of history about Indiana, but I live in Seymour. Seymour is home of John Mellencamp. That's their big guy. That John Cougar Mellencamp was from here.
Mm-hmm.
This place was known for the first train robbery. There's a gang called the Reno Brothers, and they terrorized this community in the 1860s, and all of them were all 9 people in the gang, or at least 9 people from the gang, were hung in the late 1860s, and that's a big deal around here. There's a lot. This place is just teeming with paranormal activity. This city is just ridiculous. Uh, the north side of the city, which is just 6 blocks from me, we went for an investigation where somebody called us to a house over there, and within I think 5 years of me living here, we investigated 11 properties in that same area where people
Oh,
were having
wow.
so much trouble that they called us. So it's like Spook Central in that end of town. But yeah, this town is known for a lot of stuff like that. But that's their claim to fame: the Reno Brothers and John Cougar Mellencamp. And but state of Indiana is just, there's lots and lots of pay to hunt paranormal locations, and a lot of them, a lot of well known paranormal hotspots. So.
Okay. Now, how many other teams are in the same town or city you're in? Do you know any others besides yourself?
Oh Lord, I know there was one for a while. I don't know if they're still doing it or not. It's been probably 8 or 9 years since I've spoke to any of those guys. I don't really know if they're still around. I know there's a couple more that are close that had just started over the last year or so that are
Mm-hmm.
probably 10 miles from me, but I don't really talk to them. So
So no collaboration with these other individuals.
no, not really. We don't collaborate with a lot of people. We do on some of our stuff on TikTok. We'll collaborate with some other TikTok creators or something, go some places with them just to have fun. But uh, most of the time, we're kind of to ourselves because we're so busy. We've got 3 cases right now that we haven't even started. 2 that are possible possession cases, and another one that's somebody seen shadow figures in their house and stuff's moving around, and they want us to come investigate. But we've just been so busy that I've kind of had to put them on the back burner, and I hate it because if they're really having a demonic oppression or possession, they need help right away. So.
Mm. Or okay, that I'm glad you mentioned that because that was the next question that I was going to ask you. Is it seemed like you guys do a lot of residential locations. You know, it seems that's what you guys focus on. With that being said, there's plenty of people out there that need psychic, psychic help, not psychic help, psychiatrist help. There's a lot of
Oh,
people out there that are on their meds. There are a lot of people that need help. Uh, what do you contribute to most of your cases being medical cases compared to ones that actually need, you know, the help that you guys provide?
there's quite a few. There's that, our requirement is we go in and we do an in a initial investigation, which is just an interview with the people that live in the house, but we require a psychological evaluation of each person in the house. So that's a dead requirement of the Catholic Church. And if we're gonna need help, if we find something that's a real legitimate case and we're going to need help from them, we have got to document. We have to have documented that, and we've got to do a psychological evaluation to make sure that everything is stable. Uh, to be honest, for a long time, I'd say 75% of the cases we went on were nothing.
Oh
But
wow.
over, over the last 5 years, it's been more like 90% of the cases are horrible cases, or things that are just unbelievable. That you can't, even us as paranormal investigators, when they give us the claims, you're like, there's no way, because I'm a skeptic. Until
Right.
you show me, I'm going to be a skeptic. You can say whatever you want, but until I see it or I experience, I'm probably not going to believe you until I really know for sure. I'm not going to
Mm.
rule anything out because I've seen all kinds of stuff. But here's one we had not too long. It's probably been 3 years ago. We had a lady that was hearing mom getting called to her house all the time, and a bunch of other stuff happening and stuff moving in the house. And so we go to the house and we investigate. We do get this. We get 3 or 4 EVPs of this thing calling for mom, and but we didn't get much else. And then, like 2 days later, she calls me and she tells me that her walls are bleeding.
Mm.
I'm like, hair standing up my arms. I'm like, oh my god,
Right.
walls are bleeding. This Amityville horror kind of stuff, So, I'm calling my, couple guys in my group. Said, you got to meet me there right now. She's saying the walls are bleeding. So we get over to her house and we're investigating, and and all this. It looks like blood running down her shower, and there's a little spot above her shower where there's a little doorway, and like a little cabinet or whatever. I guess it's access to the plumbing or something, and we're trying to figure stuff out, and finally we're trying to get a sample of this blood and stuff, and we're kind of smelling it. It smells sort of like barbecue sauce, and we're like, oh man, something's wrong. This is not blood, and so we start talking to her, and we're asking her about this thing. She goes, well, I used to hide money up there all the time when I was with my ex-husband. And I'm like, you think your ex-husband might have been in your house? Because she said she had barbecue in her refrigerator, so he was eating it, dripping it. He must have climbed up there on the wall and was, was up there trying to steal her money and stuff. So we set up 3 or 4 cameras, and it just had to be Christmas time. We put she had some glitter, and we poured glitter all over her porch. And next day, when she was at work, this guy comes walking in the house. We got him on video, and he's leaving footprints from all this glitter all over the house. And caught him. It was her ex-husband that was doing it. So he was a meth addict. We just told her, you don't have a paranormal problem. You got a crackhead problem, is what we tell her. So, but the police did arrest him and got him for home invasion, and so see, it's not always paranormal, but
Right.
man,
Right.
when she said the walls were bleeding, we thought we were freaking out. So, but it didn't. So,
Man. Now, why do you think those numbers have dramatically reversed? Do you think it's because the way the world is now as a whole, or do you think there's something bigger on the horizon that's going to affect everybody?
I've been the last 3 years. Paranormal has went through the roof. Things used to hide from us. You would try to get EVPs, you try to talk to them, try to see them or something. You wouldn't get nothing hardly. I mean, it was tough. You had to do a lot of provoking just to get something to do something most of the time. But now they don't care. They just step right out. They don't care if you get a video of them. They don't care if you get pictures. They don't care if you hear them talk. And they challenge you now. They used to not challenge. So I feel like that there has to have been some kind of shift of some kind. And I've been discussing this with a lot of my paranormal friends and a lot of people that I work with, with paranormal, other paranormal people that are on TV, and some people, I will never call anybody a paranormal expert because I don't believe there's such a thing as a paranormal expert.
Right.
I don't think there's any way we could tell you what definitively is going on. But it has increased dramatically, and we just had a case about 6 months ago. We went into the house and we set up a portal box and started to talk to the spirit. It threw our portal box across the floor 2 or 3 times, and then we said, "Well, we're going to make you leave." And it said, it had some choice words, but mostly it said, come on and try it. I dare you to try it. Come and see what you get and all this. Well, those people were being attacked in their house every day. their little kid's rocking horse rocked violently by itself. They saw shadow figures in a mirror all the time. Every time they walked past their hallway, there was a Mickey Mouse doll that was choking their 3-year-old kid. They found it choking him, and
Mm.
there was this thing crawling around the walls. So it, I mean, it's just unbelievable that that kind of stuff was going on and that it
Right.
challenged us. And I tried to get an exorcist to step in, but we weren't. We most of the stuff that we had was evidence was more hearsay from the family than it was, video evidence of our own. We had a lot of audio, but no video, and a couple other things. So the priest kind of gave me a little Catholic smack, on the hand with a ruler because he's like, better than this. I can't take this to the group of bishops to get them to approve an exorcism or something with if you don't have more evidence. So we end up getting it, and I've never done this, but we end up getting a shaman. And a shaman came in and was able to cleanse that house. So they did get relief, but it was really intense.
Mm. Okay. This here is going to be a tough question for you. Hopefully, you'll be able to answer it for me. Do you think not environmental? Do you think that a resident haunting can be caused by the conditioning, the living of the residents in the location? Do you think
Wow.
that's possible?
Yeah, there's so many variables. It could be the people. It could be the land was already had something going on. Uh, it could have been, just there's just so many things that could have drug it home from somewhere. Might have followed him from somewhere. Uh, there's just so many things, or maybe it was there when they moved in. There's just so many variables to that situation.
Mm. Now, do you think if a house is dark, if a house doesn't don't bring light into it, do you think it's acceptable to bring in something dark? Because we all know that without dark, you can't have one without the other. There's light, there's dark, night and day, sun up, sun
One of
down.
the
Just a joke on that one. But you
yeah,
know, having having a unkept house where everything is pretty much out of time, if I want to say that, things pretty much like a hoarder. When you got a bunch of stuff in your house and things aren't kept, things aren't clean, do you think that's open to the possibility of something coming in and you know being in your house?
I don't really think that has anything to do with it. Honestly, I've never experienced that where that would be that way. A lot of the people that we go to their homes, their houses are immaculate. Some of them are new, beautiful houses, just immaculate houses. But the paranormal's there for something's there for some reason.
Mm.
Uh,
So
I
you
will, I
can't.
will, I will, I will tell you that I think if a lot of houses are vacant for a long time,
Hmm.
that I honestly, from all the stuff I've done, I'm starting to believe that I believe that a lot of bad things go and hide in these places and just sit and wait until they're ready to do something, or they're uh, I don't have to put till whatever they have no sense of time, so they could sit there for 50 years and then do whatever they're meant to do or whatever their plan is. But it seems to me that they go to those places to be left alone or something, because a lot of times when we get in vacant houses, that's where we find a lot of weird stuff. Or when somebody starts to renovate an older home or something that's been empty
Hmm.
for 20 years or something, then it seems to release a lot of negative energy.
Okay. Okay. Cause man, I've been fighting a case for a while now, and I'm a straightforward guy. So if I see something that I know that can contribute to a possible haunting, and it if it affects the environment of the house, if because we all know sunlight brings in so much,
Oh yeah,
but if you're not getting sunlight into the house and it's dark and it's moldy and it just it to me, I just think it brings in something negative.
yeah. I don't
And,
disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. But I just haven't experienced that. But
right, right.
there's a place here called Whispers Estate, and it's considered on the Travel Channel, it's the fourth most terrifying place in America, right? Uh,
Okay.
Super haunted. I was really close to the previous owner. I was a tour guide there for years, and we one of the TV shows came there, and we put cardboard over the windows because they wanted to film during the day and say it was night, so they wanted it to be dark in the house. And after that, they left the cardboard on the windows. And the last time I investigated there, it's been years since they put the cardboard on the windows. Now there's like two little kids that always responded in that house. And now, last time I went, I told them, "What's wrong? Why aren't you talking?" And they told me that uh, they were being oppressed by evil spirits because there was no longer any light in the house. So that would
Mm.
go kind of with what you're saying. They said that over the spirit box to me. So uh, it just they just said it's too dark. It's too dark. This thing is, then it would say it was bothering us, and because there's no light here. So I think it's because the windows have been covered and there's never any light into the house, but that maybe pauses them some. But
Mm. Okay. Now, how much negative effect do you think Hollywood has on what we do as paranormal teams?
they, I don't know. They do. If you're talking about paranormal shows in particular, some of them bother me because uh, they oh they're over dramatic. Of what the situation is, or that some people they've been known to fake stuff or something like that, and that gives us all a bad name if people think that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, we get a lot of skeptics, on our TikTok page. They'll be, we're live, and they'll be, "Oh, you're faking this, you're faking that." I'm like, "Look, dude, you know, I'm a skeptic too, right? And I want you here. I love skeptics." I said, "But I envy you because I envy your innocence." I used to think, the creaking of the house or some noise banging in the house is something, the house settling or something like that. I don't believe that anymore. Now some stuff scares me. I think, oh, something's going on here. And but I tell them on there, our name's Access the Paranormal. If you don't believe, you're allowed to come with us. We take anybody that wants to go on investigations with us. We take them on investigation with us and let them experience what we're experiencing. So and that way
Yeah.
we convert some of the skeptics, but I love skeptics. Like I said, I'm a skeptic until I see something to prove me wrong.
Well, and not only that, man, I think, us as paranormal investigators, I think we need to carry a tool belt around our waist because every little crack, they think something paranormal. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
and why not just get a tool belt, put a hammer, screwdriver, and everything else that we can use to lock it down because you know, or get some bow cutters to cut the damn trees that scratches the window, or your your gutter is hanging off and it's banging against the wall. So, you know what I mean, go get some screws and screw that thing in. So all the little bangs in the night, we do all that. Then we come back the next day and ask, did you get a good night's sleep? And if they say yes, then everything's solved.
Yeah, we debunk everything. We debunk, and debunk, and debunk. But the worst thing is when you debunk something because it's aggravating because you're all excited it might be paranormal, and then you debunk it and you're like, oh man, that was going to be a great piece of evidence, but it's not truly paranormal after all.
No, it's not. I mean, all you need is a good somebody that can come in and just bolt down everything. Just bolt it down, dude. I mean, that you wouldn't believe how much knocks on wall foundation knocking is not paranormal. If you got an older house and it creaks, that's what it does. We can't call that paranormal. If you got if you got an old heater or old thing down in the basement where you need to get you a new hot water heater that knocks, dude, you're gonna hear that through the walls. All that is not paranormal. Take your time and figure things out before you call anybody. You know what I'm saying? Most of these investigations, people can figure out themselves. But like you're saying, David, and whoever they are, some of them just want to have us on their bucket list saying that, hey, we had a paranormal team come in the house and they fixed my water heater for free. Or, they fixed this for free because I thought that was somebody over there knocking on my wall, which it wasn't. It was just, my water heater bubbling up or something. I mean, people have, and I think in this day and age, I was hoping that people's eyes and ears were a little bit more wider.
Yeah, there's also a lot of lonely people out there who want attention.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree with that.
We recently had a woman. Well, this has probably been 2 years ago. She called us to a place. It was an apartment, and tell us all the evidence she was getting and all the stuff that was happening to her. And we got there, and we weren't there 5 minutes and saw a huge black shadow figure walking around her house. We got it on video, got pictures of it, and we found out it was attached to this one toy, this a unicorn, a stuffed unicorn. And her daughter used to see it come out of the unicorn all the time. She had a bunk bed. She had a blanket over the bunk bed where she couldn't see anymore. Well, this lady invited us up there. We investigated. We catch all this evidence. And she made us dinner, hung out with her, talking and everything. And then she invites us right back up, wants us to come and hang out. She wants to make dinner and stuff. And that was cool. But, we were more focused on the paranormal. It's like she was, wanting somebody there with her. And then I sent my two of the girls in my group, because this was up right next to Notre Dame University, and I sent them up there to get this the unicorn from her and to get it out of her house. And I've convinced some priests to go over there and do a blessing of the house to try to get the stuff out. But in the meantime, some other paranormal group called me and said you're sending 2 people up there right now, right? I was like, yeah. They said, well, she's full of crap. I'm like, what do you mean? They said, well, she got a hold of me, and they were in Michigan, and they got a video of her, and she's sitting in her living room, and she opens a drawer on a dresser drawer, and they walk in the bedroom and they come back out with them. She's like, oh my God, that drawer opened by itself. And then, but they had a camera on it and caught her open the door. They sent it to me. They said, it's messed up. I said, well, that's weird because we've got so much evidence that stuff's going on. And that's what I said. Maybe, I don't know if she was lonely or she had some kind of thing where she just, I don't know why she would be faking stuff and getting other paranormal groups to go in when we had priests coming and everything else going on to get rid of what was happening. So people do some strange things.
Right. You're absolutely right. And I don't know why, but It's crazy. But check this out, David. Can you tell me the top three? Or I'm gonna say one, two, three. The top three things that paranormal investigators shouldn't do. Now, when I mean shouldn't do, I mean, and I don't mean the obvious. The obvious is we don't disrespect. We don't desecrate graves. We don't walk over graves. All that's the obvious things that we
Well,
don't do.
number one, absolutely number one, my number one rule: do not investigate alone.
Okay.
You
Now,
should never do that. Now we do it. I just investigated the Randolph County Asylum in Indiana. It's supposed to be the ninth most haunted place in the world, and I investigated there Tuesday night by myself.
okay.
But you shouldn't investigate by yourself because too many things can go wrong, whether they're paranormal or just a natural event. You fall down some steps, any little thing can happen to you, and you should never investigate alone. Uh,
Mm,
our second rule is we never trespass. We never go
okay.
anywhere. We never go anywhere where we don't have permission to be there. I think that's goes back to kind of what you're saying. It's being respectful and we never damage anything, in the cemetery, anything like that. It's
Mm,
just terrible. Uh, but that's my top two rules. And I don't know what else I would say for not doing as a paranormal investigator. Uh, I don't know.
okay.
I don't
Okay.
know what
Now,
else I'm going to do, but that's my major two rules right there.
okay. Now, I'm gonna throw these out there because I think they are very significant to what can possibly start in a haunting in a residential location. Those of you in the chat, you can agree or disagree with me. Uh, if you just put in chat whether you agree or disagree. Number one is David. Never ever go to an estate sale. An estate sale, we already know what estate sales are really about. An estate sale is for somebody who has passed away and they're selling everything. Now, with an estate sale, you really don't know what you're getting. You really don't know what kind of love that person that passed away have love for that item. So it could be an attachment to that. Because I'm telling you, if, when it's my time and my favorite uh, chair is, I see it's being loaded up on somebody else's truck, I'm going with that chair because that's my favorite chair. You know what I'm saying? Number two is never ever go to a thrift store because you don't know what you're getting there either. Thrift stores is not like an estate sale. Thrift stores is something that people give away because they don't want it or something. It's just one of those things where you go and get rid of it and just let it be. Whether it has an attachment, people's not going to tell you what the situation is. They just drop it off and they're gone. Number three is never pick up things on the side of the road. I mean, I've seen so many people. Oh, that's a nice looking dresser right there. Stop and get that dresser. No, why would you stop and get something that somebody threw away? I don't understand that. Not only does it can cause uh, you know mental issues. It can cause possibly a haunting, but you can get other things with that stuff. Things are on side of the road for a reason. Am I right?
It's
You know.
it's funny. It's funny because a friend of mine is a hoarder and he picks up stuff everywhere. So, but he actually owns a lot of haunted locations, and if he finds an old dresser or something and it will fit in one of those haunted locations, he'll put it in there. Or he finds something that's antique that was that time period back for that house or that location, he's going to grab it. So there's no
Yeah,
telling what he
man.
picks up.
Hey, I can't do it, bro. There is no way. My wife used to go and to yard sales, and and this is before. As a paranormal investigator, you learn things over the years. You know the things to do, know the things not to do, and that is one of the things I do not do because you don't know the fear factor, the what if factor when you picking up stuff like that. People can say, "Oh yeah, it's a great thing. This is that. That is this." Oh, but hell, 2 days down the line, you can see a man sitting in your recliner smoking a cigar because it was his chair before anybody else's.
We uh, we have six things that we believe are haunted objects, but two of them are dolls, and I honestly believe they're probably two of the most haunted dolls there are in probably the world. And they were attacking the family that had them, and they were. It's funny because this they were put up in an estate sale years ago, and the person that said they were haunted then, but this elderly woman, she bought them and took them to her house, and she had them for about a year, and she passed away, and her son got them, and he didn't
Mm,
want them, and he gave them to this woman. Well, this woman, within a couple of days of having them, everything in her life was going wrong. They were hearing all kinds of banging noises, a baby crying in their house, and all kinds of stuff going crazy. And she was talking to her sister on the phone, and she told her sister, I hate to even say what I think it is because it's too weird. And she said she looked over at the doll and it turned its head towards her. So she ran over and she shoved them into a suitcase, took duct tape and duct taped all over this whole suitcase, and took them out and put them in. And she put them in a big chest in her shed, and then called us and asked us to come and get them, or to help her or whatever. And for 2 weeks, she kept a detailed diary of all the stuff that happened, and has video. What looks like one of the dolls walking around in the yard, and a bunch of other stuff happening. And I and she towards the end she goes, "Well, you're gonna have to give me money for them." I said, "Well, then you can keep them. I'm not going to come over there and give you money to get them out of your house." And
right? You're gonna have
and
to
then,
pay me for taking them.
then she started crying and begged me to come get them. So I went and got them, and we had them, and we saw them. They tried to scratch out of the suitcase they're in, and we opened it. They'd have a little piece of plastic in their hand, and it would scratch the suitcase, trying to scrape through the suitcase. And we have video of them moving, scraping the suitcase, trying to get out. And then one night, we actually, which is a long story, so I won't tell right now, but we actually had a apparition that had long hair, and it was kind of orange transparent thing came out of them and kind of started guarding the suitcase, wouldn't let us near the suitcase. And it was really intense. And then finally, I had him in my house for a little bit, and I put him in my newer shed. And within 2 weeks, there was a hole all the way through my shed, right above him. So we
Wow.
moved him. So we moved him to a barn way out in the country, and then one of my investigators opened them just to make sure they were still okay about a year ago, and then she's been sick ever since. And unfortunately, I'm not even sure she's going to make it through this illness she's suffering. And it was right after she opened and looked at them dolls that happened. Uh, so I'm not sure
Mm.
what's going on with them, but every place they've been, they're on the internet. As people that had them before said they were a cross between Chucky and Annabelle, and so we have those locked in a place right now. And we're too scared to even be near them, to be honest.
Interesting, man. I would love to see those dolls.
Yeah, I we swore up and down we're gonna take them out, put them somewhere, and put them in a display case somewhere, and just let people see them at some haunted location here or in Indiana. And but I don't want to unleash something on somebody that I shouldn't. So I can't make up my mind, to be honest.
Okay, cool. I totally respect that. I totally respect that indeed. Access to paranormal, man. What do you guys do when you want to reach the community in your town? How are you guys able to do that?
Well, we do a lot of events. So I last year we did an event for Halloween for uh, SICA, Southern Indiana Center for the Arts. For a fundraiser they did, we set up a room and we showed all our evidence, and they had a bunch set up stuff for kids and a bunch of stuff for adults, and we had a big room and people came in and out all night. We went over our evidence with them, and then we did a ghost hunt for people that wanted to do it at the end of the night. And but most of the way we reach people is through Facebook. People contact us through Facebook. I've done also did a fundraiser for Coast Children's Hospital in Louisville. I did a presentation for about 250 women for uh, to raise money for the charity, and they donated like I think it was $5,000 in the name of Access to the Paranormal to the Children's Hospital.
Mm.
But typically, people get a hold of us through Facebook or Facebook Messenger or TikTok or something, and that's typically how people get a hold of us.
Okay. Do you have any kids?
I have 5 kids.
Wow. And what do they think about what you do for a living?
Some of them are into it. Some of them don't like it at all. So my oldest son, he's living with me now. He's 24, and I really put him through it because he, he pretty much the other ones were 16 years old when he was born. But I took him to Whispers Estate and all these haunted places with me all the time because it's the only way I could go. I had to take him, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think I messed him up a little bit because he definitely don't want nothing to do with it anymore. So um, he's seen enough. He actually got to be on the TV show called my what is it? Gosh, I can't remember what it's called now. My paranormal calling camera or something. So uh, he was on that TV show with some of the evidence we caught and the big thing we had one night when he was at place with me. And but he don't want nothing to do with it now. In the house I live in, this house is 120 years old, and there was already several spirits here when we moved in. The previous owner even told me about the ones that were here, and we'd experienced them for about a year before she told me that.
Are they friendly or are they, a little,
Well,
or, or, or
there's a little girl upstairs, and I swear she looks like the girl from The Ring, the movie.
oh no.
I've only seen her once, and she's standing in the hallway with her head down, like this, long hair and a nightgown. And I saw her for a couple of minutes. She disappeared, but you hear her walking around all the time. And
You know,
on the landing of my stairwell, there's a black shadow figure that stays there. And every time you walk by, you can see it out of the corner of your eye. But when you look at it, it's not there. But a girl lived with us for about 3 weeks, so she had a place to stay for 3 weeks while she's waiting for mom to pick her up to do something. But she walked around the corner and ran face first into it and screamed. And when you come in the house for the rest of the time, she ended up staying at somebody else's house because she was too scared.
mm,
But and there's a woman that roams around. You see her dress swish around corners every once in a while. And there's a man in my basement, but he typically don't bother me anymore. But once I was doing laundry and I could feel him walk in the room. You know how that feeling is. Your hair
mm-hmm.
stands up on your arms. You're so tensed up. You know it's standing there. And I'm folding laundry. I said, "Look, I'm sorry." I said, "I've got to get this stuff done. Can you please, let me get it done? Because you're kind of scaring me being there." And then all of a sudden, I could just feel it leave the room. And so, you know, so that's about what's here. And I've seen a couple spirits just walk through a couple times, just a transparent figure or something. And but typically I don't investigate my own house and I don't acknowledge them because I'm afraid if I acknowledge them, then I'm just going to create more issues.
Yeah. Well, man, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, if you was to, if technology was to just vanish, there's no more technology on this planet whatsoever. It's like Thanos snapped everything that was technology based was gone. Do you think paranormal investigators could still be able to investigate and get the
Yeah.
success that they need today?
Yes. I
And
think
how
you
will they
can.
do that, sir?
Um, well, if you've been doing it a while, which I'm sure you have now, so you can sense what's there. You can feel it.
Hmm.
I can walk into a house and instantly, especially if there's something negative, you can feel it. You know it's there.
Right.
Uh, the sense of something watching you, that's real. That when you really feel that, there's something probably watching you. And but you could still interact with them. We get lots and lots of disembodied voices. I could, even if there wasn't technology, I could ask it to move something or show itself, something like that. So, I mean, it wouldn't be as easy. The technology makes it a lot more easy, but you could still do it if you needed to.
Mm, right.
I think you could.
And I think that's why a lot of people today are so into technology. They're forgetting what their main, what their senses are, what
Oh, yeah.
they can do without the devices that they so need to have. And to me, I think it's taking paranormal I mean, it's taken away the small things about paranormal investigating: your hearing, your eyesight, your sense of smell, the
The,
hair
temp-
standing up on your arms.
the
You know,
temperature drop.
yeah. I mean, it's taken away. All that technology is taken away from things that we should be using anyway, but we don't. And
Now,
it's
well, I'm an old school investigator. I don't use a lot of technology. I use a digital recorder. I do use some of the stuff to play with it, just to have a good time. But when I'm truly investigating, I use a digital recorder, a flashlight. Basically that's the tools I use. I don't I don't usually use a lot of stuff. So I do like a spirit box. Okay, it's all right. We have a portal box. This portal box is pretty good, but you get so much interference and you don't know, what'd that say? What'd that say? What'd that say? But when you use a digital recorder and you ask a question and that thing, whatever it is, gives you a definitive answer and you play it back and you can hear it, that's true evidence. There's no,
right.
I don't know what that said or that radio station might have said it or something like that. I've got a definitive spirit voice that I can play back and and prove that's what I heard. Especially when I'm handing it to the Catholic priest and I'm saying, "Listen to this. This is what it said." They don't really like the electronic stuff. They're more
Hmm.
for to record than they'll use that. I mean, if you get video, of course, picture and video, but uh, using a K2 meter or a REM pod or tripwire or they're not interested in that. They think that's more a parlor trick or something like that than true evidence of the paranormal.
Okay. Uh, what advice would you give to future paranormal investigators?
Don't ever befriend anything. Because a lot of times, like the other night, we had several times that something said, "I want to be your friend." Again,
Mm,
you never say, "Okay," you know, don't, and don't ever say, "Come into my body," leave that person alone, because a lot of people will do that. You know, I'm not afraid of you. You come over here and mess with me. You should never do that. If you want to get it to stop bothering somebody, that's cool, but don't ever give yourself up to get it to do something, because it will take that advantage over you. And I have had to I've had to help paranormal investigators who've been possessed by something or have gotten attachments because they did that. And it's something I would never do. Never give yourself up for something.
Okay.
And just be careful. If you're new and you're doing home investigations, be really careful, because you really don't know people. If they invite you to their house to investigate, do a thorough investigation before you go.
Right.
Because we've walked into a couple of bad situations, and never, ever, I say don't investigate by yourself, but do not ever, ever go to a private residence by yourself to investigate. That is like, because you don't know what that person is either going to do to you or say you did to them. So, protect yourself. That's what I would say to a new investigator. And, and I don't know, it's, you might want to think twice before doing it, because it really does affect your health after time too. You fight off depression, you fight off the stuff that those things, the emotions of a lot of spirits, especially negative spirits, that can imprint their emotions on you. And some people don't think that's true, but it's very true.
Okay. Do you how many grandkids do you have?
3.
3. Are any of them in high school?
Oh, no. They're all little.
Oh, they're all little. Okay. How would you feel if the school district which your kids are in would have parapsychology as an elective at the high school level? How would you feel about that?
Parapsychology, I think that would be a great idea. I think the understanding of stuff is so important. And if you ever took a parapsychology class or studied parapsychology, there's so much great, rich history involved in it too. So I think it's an excellent thing.
Okay, yeah, because they're starting to do that down here in Texas.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
There's a college here that does parapsychology. Well, basically, it's a paranormal 101 class is what it's called, and they teach them parapsychology and teach them the basics of paranormal investigating, and then they actually go to 2 or 3 locations to hunt, to get to do an investigation while they're in the class. And
right.
I've actually did some. A couple of speeches for them or lectures for them, and went on a couple of their investigations to lead them. So it's kind of cool. I don't know if they're still doing it. I haven't heard from them for about 3 years, but it was really cool that they did that.
I think it's cool, but you also need that field training.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think at the high school level they're allowed to go field training because I don't think they would want to open themselves up to something like that.
Oh, yeah. There's some serious places here. I mean, I'm sure there's in Texas too. I've been to a few places in Texas, but the Hill House I went to, and I was in Jefferson, Texas, and got some really great evidence at a bed and breakfast. But I don't know where I was going. Oh, like if they were to go someplace like here, there's a place called Whispers Estate, 4th most terrifying place in America. Then there's the Monroe House, which is called the Demon House of Indiana, and there's a friend of mine, he owns the Randolph County Asylum. It's not bad; it's not real negative, but he also owns the Jim Jones Church, and the Jim Jones Childhood Church, the Kool-Aid guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that place is so intense that there's no way I will stay there at night by myself. I don't even like going in there during the day by myself. It's so
Mm.
scary. And then, but those are the kind of places that, they're still, I think they're demonically infested. And I don't think, you'd ever want somebody that's training to go in them without some kind of experience.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't even think I would have. I don't even think I would go any of them places. At least, and I'm all for investigating. By myself because I like that fear factor. Compared to some other things that goes on. But
I used to get so comfortable during the day. We'd go someplace and we'd investigate night. Next day, you're sitting around joking around. It's daylight. You think, during the day you're safe, right? But
right.
I was sitting at the Monroe House in the Demon House, Indiana. Everybody else left. I took a shower in the house, came down, was sitting in the living room looking at TikTok videos, and all of a sudden, this big black like mass comes walking past the kitchen door and walks past, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I ran over because I had a camera set up, but it was glitching. So I ran
Mm-hmm.
over and turned because the kitchen light was on. I turned it off. I thought maybe that's what it was because of the night vision or something going on. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was just electricity from that thing. But it walked by, and I had the camera facing that hallway, so I've got video of it. But the night before, it said it was going to kill me 3 times. So, and it said, well, one of the times it said you're going to die. I've got that really playing on recording and stuff. So,
Oh, that's crazy.
but that place, yeah, constantly. That place is like as soon as I walk in the house, I walked in the house one day, wasn't in there 30 seconds, and I got an EVP saying we're watching you. So it doesn't for some reason things are so attracted to me. It's unreal. And I have and it only happened over the last year or two, but everywhere I go, stuff happens like tenfold when I'm there compared to when I'm not. And I don't know
Interesting.
why.
What do you think about all these haunted locations that charge ridiculous prices to investigate? Do
Pay
you
to hunt.
agree with them or disagree?
Pay to hunt. I don't like pay to hunt, but my best friend, well, these guys are like some of my best friends. They're twin
Mm-hmm.
brothers, and they own a company called Save the Old Properties. And they own the Randolph County Asylum, the Jim Jones Church, the Stone Mansion, Blackford County Jail. But they own all these locations, but they charge people to come and pay to hunt, right? The Randolph's pretty expensive. The other ones are not too bad, but all the money they get from what they do goes right back into those buildings and to save them. So I don't really have such a problem with that, but there's a lot of people that just find a place and they say, "Oh, it's haunted," and they start charging you $300-400 a night to come there, and I really don't like it. But when I've been doing this for a long time, and that didn't happen until Ghost Hunters was on TV. And
Yeah.
when Ghost Hunters first came on, our the paranormal field just blew up. We had so many calls for help all the time because of that show. Just got everybody, hey, there's people that come look for ghosts, so I'll help you, blah, blah, blah. And then they just went crazy calling us. But then all of a sudden, all these old buildings we used to go to, and they didn't care. They let us go in, didn't charge us nothing. All of a sudden, they started charging a little bit. They started charging a little more. Now it's like a big business, of every place you go is pay to hunt, pay to hunt, pay to hunt. So it's pretty hard. But one of the things we do is we do public investigations every
Mm-hmm.
second. Well, next year we'll be back to it because it kind of slowed down during COVID and we're getting back to it. But next year, the second weekend of every month, we'll be doing public investigations and we'll be going to pay to hunt places. But like the place that charges $400 for 10 people, then we'll take people with us and we'll charge them $40 a person to go with us, and they'll investigate with us, and it'll kind of pay for the place. But it just Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's part of the new paranormal stuff, I guess. Just you know, there's just so
Yeah,
many, like you said, so many new people getting in it, so many new groups. Everybody's into it, wants to go. So they're willing to pay a little bit, and that just it kind of made it hard on all of us that have been doing it for a long time. So we kind
yeah,
of
it's
I,
crazy.
I, I volunteer for them guys, so they let us have access anytime somebody hasn't got it rented. We have access to those properties at any time. So for volunteering to help them.
So it's becoming the new norm to pay to hunt.
Yeah, it
You
stinks,
know,
don't
a lot of people don't look at the big picture when they pay to hunt. I mean, a lot of people think, well, okay, I'll go pay to this, I'll go pay that. But people sometimes don't think about the people that they're hunting.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks about, okay, how would you feel if the role was reversed? You
Right.
know, how would they feel? Let the spirits hunt them and see what it feels like. How would
You,
you feel? How would you feel if you come to my resting spot and say all these crazy questions? Not just you, but night after night after night after night after night after night.
look,
You hear?
it's funny you say that because something happened to me the other day at the Randolph County Asylum. There's a lady there that uh, she had neurosyphilis, and she had got so bad that they had to kind of lock her in her room, and they put her in a room that had bars on the windows because she'd go out and roam in the street, and she'd take all her clothes off and walk outside and stuff, because she was mentally she was gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she asked for a broom to clean her room one night, and she hung herself from this broom in her room and passed away. Well, they're always telling her story, right? And the other day, I was downstairs, and people are asking me, tell us the story about Ida, tell us stories about her." And I'm like, "Well," I said, "I don't want to because I don't want to embarrass her. I don't want, I'll tell you guys later upstairs. I'm not going to tell you outside her room right here." And I had the spirit box going, and the spirit box plainly said, "He is the only one that cares."
Mm.
So that spirit is similar to what you're saying. They're going in and telling her story, or they're, bothering her every day. But she said, because I said that, she said, he's the only one that cares. That was pretty cool. And it really is relevant to how you were saying that.
Interesting. Now, because there's locations, man, that has so many teams, individuals get in there and they'll ask the same old question. And David, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Let me, when it's my time, and if I choose to stay at a certain location, and people decide to, they want to rent me out for $100 a month or $700. First of all, I'm gonna want my cut, whether I'm dead or not. I'm gonna demand my cut. Second of all, if you can't come correct and ask me something I have not heard 800 times, it's gonna be a problem. Third thing is, if you can't if you can't come with something different to the table, because I don't want to see that damn cat ball I've been hearing about 50,000 times. There's too many other devices out there that people have yet to discover that are out there. People need to go check out. I'm gonna sling that ball clear across the damn floor, wherever the hell I'm gonna be. I'll make sure you'll never see that damn ball again.
Yeah, we try to talk to them like they're there with us and it's in presence tense. But you're right. My friend that owns the Randolph County Asylum, there's people there almost every single night it's rented out. I mean, it's one of the most popular places in the country, maybe the
Mm-hmm.
world. And he told me, he said, if I hear one more person say, what's your name? How old are you? Well, he said, I'm so sick of the same things. It's all people. It's the same questions. I told him, I'm like, well, what's left? I mean, there's only so many things you can say, but we try to sit down and just talk to them like they're there and see what they do. But you're right. It's a monotony. It's the same thing over and over and over and over. And for a spirit, my gosh, 365 days a week. What's your name? Can you move this ball? Can you touch this? Can you light this up? I'm sure it's got to get on their nerves if they're intelligent, right?
You wouldn't believe how many words there are that can represent the same question that you ask. You know what I'm saying? There are so many different terminologies that we can use to make things easier. But people sometimes people are stuck in their ways of doing things. And people just don't want to think outside the box. They are so set in the norm where they don't want to think outside of the box.
Well, they've seen it on TV, so that's another thing.
TV, guys, turn off your TVs. Do things for yourself for a moment. Think outside the box for 1 minute, and I guarantee you, it's a life-changing moment for you. Life-changing moment. The minute you think outside the box, you will never want to think inside the box again. You will always want to think outside the box. When you think outside the box, you think of new ideas. There are so many opportunities out there than having yourself cornered in four spaces and one long box. You got two side boxes. That's your box. You got to think outside of that, man. Open up your mind, your ears, and your mind, and do something new. Just think for a moment. You will be okay. It's not going to hurt you to think outside the box, man. Trust me. It will actually help you become a paranormal investigator or whatever you are on this planet, whatever you want to be on this planet. Never think like the next man next to you, because I can almost guarantee you he's thinking something better than you. So always think outside the box. That's always, but Dave, I got a couple more questions, brother, and I am going to get you out of here. Okay. First question is, there are different types, there are different levels to paranormal investigating. Which level are you guys? I heard you mention you had several demonic cases. There was a couple things that you thought that you had to require exorcism. Are you a level 3 paranormal investigator, which handles demon cases, and other spiritual cases that might be required, or you just a level 1? A level 1 paranormal investigator is an investigator that comes in and debunk, evaluate, and help the team out. No more than that. A level. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're definitely a level 3. We have over 130 years of experience in my group of paranormal investigating now, and we've probably got 300 or 400 private investigations we've done over the 40 years. But I don't know how to put it, but yeah, it's tough. It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of learning. Going all the paid to hunt places is a good thing when you start out, because you learn. You get the EVPs and you get the activity. And at first you're scared. I'm still scared. I get scared a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I get scared a lot. But when you go to pay to hunt place, go to some demonically infested place, just investigate, having a good time. I'm I'm not allowed to confront it because the people who are renting the place out, I can't confront it, and make it leave because then their business is gone, right?
Exactly right.
So you're kind of you're letting it be on your level, so you're not in charge. You're kind of because that kind of makes me nervous, and when stuff happens, I get scared. People say, "Do you get scared?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I get scared." But and I've been doing it forever. But when I flip that switch to the other side, where I'm not just playing and doing an investigation or something, like when it's a serious investigation, then and you flip that switch and you're working with something where people are in danger and you have to change the way you approach it with more what I want to say, more aggression. So you got to be more of an aggressive person, and you've got to take control of that spirit or that entity, and you've got to let it know that you're in charge. So then you're not scared. You flip that switch, and you're in charge. And they come at you. They'll come at you hard, but but all of a sudden you feel better and you feel more at ease because look, you're leaving because I'm going to make you leave through prayer or whatever. I'm going to cleanse this house and you're going to leave, or and so I'm in charge. But this there was a really cool, like I said, I keep dragging this out, but the guys that own the Randolph County Asylum, there's a slaughterhouse there, and they have their workshop in it. And one of the brothers, they didn't even believe in the paranormal, and they were renting places out. They never really experienced a lot, but this one brother kept getting attacked constantly in the slaughterhouse. And all these people watch us on TikTok all the time, and they see, we're just doing a basic investigation, trying to get stuff. And so we let our subscribers only go in there, and we set up the camera. So we're not going to talk to you while we do this investigation because we're going to try to get rid of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
The first second I walk in that place, I got a headset on with my recorder, and I don't know if you know this, but if you plug a headset into your recorder and when you hit record, you can hear everything live, really loud, and you can hear them when they talk.
Right.
And this thing, first thing off the bat, Cody walks in behind me. He sees the shadow figure cross, and all of a sudden this thing comes in and starts cussing me out. F you, I'm going to kill you. All this stuff going, just screaming at me, and I'm like, what the heck? And finally, I took charge. I cussed a couple times back at it, which I usually don't do. But then I was like, look, I said, you're leaving here. If I'm in charge, you're going to leave these guys alone, or you're going to leave this building and you're going to go away. And I said, I feel sorry if you were a person that lived at this poor farm your whole life, and you're mad because they're in this garage and this was your space, and that's why you're doing it, then I understand. I don't want to make you leave. But I said, if you're not going to stop, and it's like F you, and all of a sudden I see it moving in the rafters of the garage, just going back and forth and back and forth. It's like the shadow figure. It's crazy, and it's cussing me, and I'm like, finally, I'll go on, get further in, but finally, I have the REM pod up around. I said, if you want to deal with me, hit the, light this REM pod up. If you'll promise not to leave, to bother him anymore, I'll let you stay here. It wouldn't do nothing. Wouldn't do nothing. Finally, I'm like, look, fine, all right, you win. You're going to leave now. And I opened my phone. I went to the prayer that the exorcists tell me to use. It's the Epiphany of the Doors prayer. As soon as that prayer came on my phone, gives me goosebumps to think about it. That REM pod lit up all the way, completely to blue, just kept lighting up. I'm like, okay, back off. I said, so now you're going to cooperate. And it lit it up. And then, so, it was a crazy thing, but it finally, agreed with the REM pod over and over that it would never bother them again if I allowed it to stay there. So I didn't cleanse the barn, and or the slaughterhouse. It's basically a barn, but so it hasn't bothered them anymore. But that's what I'm saying. I went from people on TikTok are like, "What the hell?" this guy went from this guy we always watch, is always joking around and doing stuff with these ghosts and, catching stuff, to being this, aggressive, belligerent person who demands this spirit do this or else, it's leaving and all this stuff. And they were all, some of them were impressed, some of them were in shock, just kind of, oh my God, I can't believe that. But that's the stuff you learn as you go through time. You don't step into this field and know everything, or none of us know everything, but know how to deal with these things and be safe.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, I'm kind of dragging things out. I'm sorry if I am, but
no, you're good. You're good. Man, a lot of people, I get criticized about this a lot, and I just want to see what you think about it. How do you feel about cemeteries? Is there a home away from home where they come and visit, or do you think there could be potential of something being there?
When we get off, I'll send you a picture I just got from a cemetery a little bit ago, because it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I've never liked investigating cemeteries, but you go to some and they're so peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a single EVP. They're just awesome. I've been telling my son for a while, I'm going to go to a cemetery where I'm thinking about getting a plot, and I'm going to go investigate there first and see if everybody's at rest. Whether I want to be there or not. But my partner Cody, he's really wanting to get into the cemetery. So me and him went to 4 or 5 cemeteries over the last probably 3 months, a lot, and we've gotten a lot of activity. And I don't know, a lot of stuff I don't think belongs there. You see a lot of creepy stuff. I mean, I saw a creature with bright red eyes one night at one that was standing by a tree. It was probably about 6 or 7 foot tall. We see a lot of movement. And the other night we actually saw some kind of dog-like creature going across through a cemetery that was a black shadow figure. But I feel bad when I go to cemeteries, because I feel like I'm maybe, I don't want to say waking the dead, but that's kind of, like the calling, and maybe you are,
Yeah, maybe.
We go to Hell's Gate Cemetery, which is a cemetery in Kentucky that there's a lot of sacrifices been done there, and the exorcist that we deal with a lot, he had went out there to bless the cemetery, because the families that have people buried there wanted it blessed because of all the sacrifices and all the weird stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
He went out there and he ran into a huge creature there that he said was like Mothman, but it was more like just black, like he thinks it's a demon or something. So he nicknamed it was Casey Cemetery, but he nicknamed it Hell's Gate because of that. But he always tells us if any of us paranormal investigators go out there and something happens to us, he ain't going to help us. Because it's so bad. He said, I've warned you, don't go there. So it's stupid, hey, you tell me that's going on, I can't not go there,
Right? Don't.
It's just like the Hill House in Texas. We're watching this video, and this girl's laying in bed, and all of a sudden she gets jerked and thrown across the room off the bed. I instantly, as soon as I saw that video, I called my guy and said, we're going to the Hill House, because I saw that. I was like, we got to go there. Did you see what happened? So it's I think the more you tell me it's bad, the worse, the more I'm.
The more you want to go. Wow. Okay. Last question here, buddy. It's a hard one, so you got to put your thinking cap on. Where would you like to go on your paranormal bucket list?
Oh. Yeah, there are several. I'm hoping to go to Ireland in the spring. We're hoping to travel there, and go. I'd like to go a few castles and stuff there. But here, I've always wanted to go to Penhurst. I haven't got to go there yet, and
Okay.
Uh, man, there's a couple other places like I don't know if they let you go there anymore. I hear they won't, but I'd love to go to Alcatraz. I
I
think
think they
that
got
would be
I think they got day tours. I don't think they have night
yeah,
tours there.
yeah. They won't let you stay at night. I really would like that. That would be awesome. And
Unless
uh,
you bring a lot of money to the table.
yeah, that's right, right. That David don't have that. So yeah, but that like I said, Pinhurst is a big one on there. Uh, gosh, I love Trans. I had a chance to go to Trans Allegheny. I was there one night, and I didn't get to stay the whole night. And I'd like to go back there. That's really how on my bucket list of going back and staying. Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Uh, a lot of people want to go to Waverly Hills, but I've been there, hundreds of times. So um, there's a hospital down in Tennessee I would like to go to also. I can't remember the name of it right now, but
Hmm.
I've really been wanting to go to. But you know, there's a lot of cool places out there.
All
But
right.
you're right, that's pretty hard. That's a tough question because there's so many really
Yes.
great places out there.
I mean, there's so many undiscovered places also
Oh yeah, oh
that are
yeah.
just waiting to be discovered, man. And I always tell people, man, just when you're out driving, I mean, just look at the building, and if you think there's a potential, look at the history, contact the owner of the business that is for lease, and it's a good chance they might let you in. But if not, no worries. You move on to the next.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but there are so many opportunities out there for potential investigators to go investigate. Uh, any last questions? I mean, any last comments? Not comments for the audience that are on here. Anything you would like to tell them as a paranormal investigator that's been in the field for so long?
It's exciting. I worked on the ambulance in fire department for so long, and now that I'm retired, I get that same adrenaline rush when stuff happens. It's it's an exciting, exhilarating experience when something happens. You're standing in a room and you've got like some wind chimes set up, and all of a sudden, you feel a breeze, and the wind chimes start chiming, and you hear a voice or something, and the temperature drops in the room. I mean, your senses are so on high, and it's really rewarding to get into. It's a lot of fun. Uh, it you really got to be careful. You don't want to get possessed or something like that, or get an
Right.
attachment. But it's rewarding. It's fun. I say go out and have check it out and go to your. There's a I guarantee you there's a place somewhere close to everybody that does local paranormal investigations, and just take a digital recorder with you and listen and use that, and that way you'll get evidence, and don't ever trespass anywhere, but just have a great time.
There you go. All right. Well, Mr. David, I appreciate you spending your evening with us, man. The conversation was great. I wish Cody could have been here with us, but that's okay. Maybe we can get him on the show next time.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
you
He
know,
would love that. He was really disappointed he didn't get to make it this time.
oh, that's okay. Tell the world how to get a hold of access to paranormal.
Okay, access the paranormal. Please like us on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. If you need anything, our numbers on Facebook. You can get us on Facebook Messenger if you need help in your house. Something's going on, and if you're in Indiana, we'll usually go several hundred miles to help somebody. But if
Hmm?
not, we'll find a paranormal group in your area to help you. But please like us and watch us on TikTok. We do 2 or 3 lives on that a week, and we go to a lot of really cool places.
Okay. Well, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. Guys, all you guys in the chat, all you guys in the chat in YouTube and Rumble, please, man, go over there and hit this guy's likes and follows on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. Let's get his numbers up, man. You know, every little bit helps. So, with that said, all you guys in the chat, thanks for joining us. All you guys that was on all the different platforms that are watching the show, thanks for joining us. Mr. David, thank you for joining me. You were the guest, and so many people have came to listen to what you have to say, and so I thank you again. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. And the great thing about it is, I will be contacting you guys back in February because I know you give you guys 2 months to a 2 months grace before I call you guys back to see how you guys are doing, and maybe I can have you and Cody on the show. You know, to talk and see what was going on between December and January. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So thank you. Tell Cody, hey man, I wish you could have been on the show. But hey, this is Terry with NSPS TV signing off. Tomorrow night, guys, I will be in Detroit, Michigan, uh, with the team out of Detroit Rock Paranormal. 7 o'clock Central. Guys, do not miss the show. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central. David, stay out of trouble uh, and behave yourself.
Thank
You
you.
guys enjoy yourself. Peace. Da, da, da.